What's up, Star Wars fans? This is Lando from Positively Star Wars, and we are back for another review and breakdown of The Acolyte, Episode 8, also titled The Acolyte. Let's go ahead and get into it. Once again, Sol, trying to get his piece out, is interrupted by May stunning him with her pip droid. He didn't even need to tell her anything, but May stopped Sol from telling her his side of the story, which just turned out to be fear. As May was yelling at Sol, she was using the volume of her voice to hide the fact that she was trying to break out of her cuffs. We know what he was about to tell her, and you would think that if she says they aren't even sisters, she'd be curious enough to listen for a second. But she stuns him with the pip droid. She finds the escape ship and then dips out. Sol goes to the cockpit to chase her, and while en route, Basil shows up again. Probably have been with the Jedi for a while. He can sense the motives of Sol, I believe, and that's why he disabled whatever he disabled on the ship. He's a non-violent tracker. Only air kicks and foot stomps for that guy. She gets away, but they're both headed to the same place. Senator Rancourt and Vernestra Rowe have a history. Nothing seedy, but he says he was surprised to hear that she was in hyperspace and then said, "How's your stomach?" Like he's been around her on ships before. They've obviously fallen out of touch or were just former colleagues or acquaintances, because later in the convo he says, "You don't like me," in a way you would say to a co-worker who you already know doesn't like you. This was the actor that was rumored to play Tenebris or Plagueis, because he's such a notable actor and he's been cast for quite some time and we've never seen him on screen. So without the season 2, this is kind of an anticlimactic appearance from this guy. And that was the most sarcastic "May the Force be with you" I've ever heard. But this does set up the divide between the Jedi and other factions of the Republic Senate and the Separatists and even the general public who lose faith in the Jedi in upcoming projects. Chimera and Osha head back to Brindot. The episode kicks off with her right back in the helmet, which I appreciated. Feels like she let her mind go right where it needed to go, which was a dark place. Similar to the magic her mother used on Torben, as Chimera gets closer to make sure she's okay, his eyes blacken, and he feels himself slip into that void, and it seems he's familiar enough with it to know what was happening. She sees a vision of May killing Sol with an outstretched hand, and doing it without a lightsaber. So that gets Chimera thinking that May might not be so bad after all, and Osha is thinking that she can still stop May. They only agree to go together because one knows where she is and the other has a ship. We now know the vision she saw was of herself killing Sol, and the reason for the twin casting. Sol was about to tell May that her and Osha are the same person, and this episode wanted to really lean into that. And let's talk about the cameos here. Plagueis and Yoda. We were told no one was going to show up in the show, so we stopped asking or keep speculating, but we definitely got Plagueis on an unknown planet. As Osha and Chimera leave, he seems to be in the same cave that they just left, or at least another part close by. It's the same view we saw Osha walk out to be on the water, same little fencing. Do we assume that he's the master and that he's okay with Chimera training an Acolyte? Is Tenebris already dead? I mean, he looked pretty badass in live action. I hope we get a season 2. And people didn't mess it up with their hate speech and the false narratives. Anyway, we also got to see Yoda at the end. And I wanted to bring it up here because I'm pretty sure this next scene, after we see Plagueis, Vernestra is trying to make an appointment with Yoda's assistant. Who else would she be talking to? She's been the high-ranking one this whole series. It has to be a council member she's trying to get in touch with. Mog is back for a message for Vernestra that Sol has finally turned back on his tracking beacon and is on Brindok again. They gather a team and head out. We can tell that they are setting up for the climax, though, as Chimera and Osha begin to land. They know Sol and May are already there, and Sol actually sees their ship fly in, so he knows they're coming as well. Chimera and Osha get to the gate, and Osha tells Chimera that the elevator is the only way to get in without climbing, and he takes the opportunity to show her one more of his powers, asking, "Are you sure?" and then disappearing, presumably floating up to go over the wall wherever he meets Sol in the mining facility. The lightsaber scenes between Sol and Chimera have been some of the best ones in the franchise. And some aren't as enthusiastic about the martial arts for the Jedi, but what types of fighting styles do you expect from a group of monks? We all know where George Lucas's inspirations came from. May's plan since Kofar has been to get Sol to admit what he did 16 years ago, so that Osha can hear it. After their twin fight, which was also pretty cool, intercut with the guys fighting, she was able to disarm Sol and get him to admit it. As Osha picks up the lightsaber, she asks him if it's true, and as he starts to tell her that he thought he was doing the right thing, he starts choking. And they definitely wait a minute before they show us Osha's hand rising up when she says, "Stop talking." Finally, being able to get this off his chest and finally be able to face what he did 16 years ago, he's ready to pull a Torben and allows Osha to kill him, completely turning her to the dark side, which we see brilliantly on the screen with the kyber crystal bleeding red, which is the only way to get a red saber unless you're at Galaxy's Edge, and you still have to build a regular one first. They don't just allow a Sith into Savvy's workshop. I'm glad we got to see this in live action. It's actually another thing pulled from a comic where we see Vader bleeding the crystal red, using his anger and hate and all the Sith feelings. May and Osha escape using the same type of tunnel or shaft Luke used to escape Vader and Empire. They venture to the yellow tree from the flashback episodes and have a moment together. Chimera shows up to remind them that the Jedi are still looking for them and we gotta figure out who's going to train with me. Osha decides to train with Chimera if he lets May go. He attempts to wipe her memory so she can't be used to find them, which is just believable enough for Star Wars. We end with them holding hands, presumably with Plagueis watching. When the credits roll, we get the witches chant in song form, which are the most silly things I can really mention in this episode. We get confirmation that Vernestra was Chimera's original master. We still don't know when, and she's looking for him now. We got the Sith Master we all asked for, but now Season 2 is yet to be confirmed. And we know Vernestra lied to the Senate, but we don't know what she said to Yoda. And in my opinion, these are all reasons for a second season. Season 1, I was pretty happy with. It doesn't break any lore that hasn't been explained somewhere else already, and it only expanded the universe for people who only watch Star Wars instead of read it. But I hope, now that it's over, people who haven't seen it get to binge it and enjoy it, or other folks who hated the beginning, love the ending, and might give it a second watch, or whatever might make Lucasfilm interested in continuing this story for us. Why wouldn't we want more Star Wars? Just remember, when all these people are telling you it's bad, they are continuing to watch. Is it just to hate on it? How many things do you personally watch that you hate and keep watching? Please let me know in the comments. We are getting ready for a universe rewatch, starting with the Tales of the Jedi and the Phantom Menace. Subscribe for those videos. They'll be coming out soon, and I'll link them to this when they are. Until then, the timeline order I'll be watching is based on this video here, and the rest of my Acolyte videos are up on the page as well if you wanted my thoughts on individual episodes. My name is Lando from Positively Star Wars, and this is the way.